All right, Jimmy D here. It is August 2nd, and I am on one of my world famous long coffee trips to, I don't know. Anyways, I was reading a post this morning on LinkedIn, and the guy was talking about the recent news that was going around that AI was basically chopping books and reading it and basically digitizing it. And of course, he gets to a good point. But of course, anytime you read that news, it's clearly the anti-AI folks, and I don't even want to get into the debate of whether we should be ingesting books or doing what they're doing and stuff. We throw away a lot of books, and in my opinion, as long as we still have, don't get rid of all books or anything. Don't flame me on that shit, but you know what? If there's enough of the books, cut one up, digest it, all that. What the hell? I go to the craft store and people are making bookends out of old books and stuff like that, or making, that was a big thing, is making a little safe out of books. Anyways, I digress. What it got me thinking was, or his point was, and it got me thinking, that's really what I wanted to say, was that as we ingest all these books and stuff, there's still the one part missing from the AI data set, or the data points and whatever that story is. And the thing that's missing is your personal part. He went to actually point it to the sales journey. And so that of course resonated with me. I'm going, hey, okay, I'm getting this. This is good. And he sat there and said that what's missing is the things at the end, why the deal didn't go through, that you were talking to John from accounting, and he had to take 2 weeks off because he was sick, and then the deal stalled, and all those little bits of juicy information that you tend to forget, that either stalled a deal, caused it to fail, or made it succeed. Like, hey, Jim got a raise, and so he had a bigger budget and he bought X, Y, and Z or whatever. And I was thinking about that, and I'm going, that's not lost. I started thinking about how I do with my second brain in the Noodle Labs. I talk to AI all the time. I talk to it just like back and forth like we're doing right now, and it gets ingested into the master noodle, the main noodle. I don't want to call master noodle, we'll call it the main noodle. That's a better one. It gets ingested into the noodle. It gets ingested in its rawness, so the raw file, the raw conversation. It gets ingested as the entire conversation in text, and it gets ingested as metadata. It just makes it easier to search and correlate information. And that's what it does. It correlates information, and it finds things that I didn't remember or forgot or didn't know. So wait a minute. Now this I'm going, listen, that really works, because it could find out or remember. So I'm at my desk. I'm not a salesperson, right? But I work with a sales team, and I find sales fascinating. So I'm at my desk, and I'm inputting into the CRM or whatever. I'm inputting all this information about this deal, and as the deal progresses through the journey, I'm inputting more information. When I start inputting information on this deal, it would be awesome if my agents, my buddies, sat there and said, you know what, Jim, you actually had a deal that resembled this. The same industry, they deal with the same vendors, the same products, they maybe distribute the same product, and they had similar challenges. Here's what that sales journey was, and I've got it all the way to the end, and here's the nuances that you need to remember. That's not science fiction. I do that with the second brain engine, and we can do that with a lot of our sales data. We just have to focus. That technology's there. So that's what excited me this morning. is that how we could enable everybody, whether it's me on my solopreneur servicing small businesses for their AI needs, just had to put that punch in there, but whether it's just me or just, again, small businesses, that collecting that data is important all the way to the end, period. Now, this kind of goes, for my last little point, supports my whole local first pledge. I don't know how I use that word, but that's a good word. The whole local first idea. And what I mean by local first is your data, your information needs to all be local first. Then it can go off in the cloud and be used like a frontier model to look at it or whatever and stuff. But I think, and I believe 100% that everything needs to be local first. And this is another reason why that is so important. Because whether it's company-specific data, right? So we talked about the sales journey, dealing with that client. You were talking in that whole journey, you were talking with Jim, and Jim said he liked Volkswagens, and so you sent him a Volkswagen mug, and that made the deal go through. I don't know. But if you write that stuff down, those are all bits of information. Or what if it is you're doing second brain technology like I do? I'm not saying that there is data that I wouldn't want out there, but trust me, there is no data that you want out there. Local first makes a difference. It is your asset, it is your property, it is your IP. All right, that's my sermon for today. Once again, Jimmy D here, talking to you about the glories of AI. Anyways, you guys have an awesome Sunday. Peace out.